Welcome back, guys. Today, we want to start our NFL predictions with Week 1. It is finally time for the NFL season. I'm excited to get this started. And what more can I say? I'm not going to keep you waiting. Let's get this started. And we're going to start off with the kickoff game, where the Detroit Lions will travel to Kansas City to take on the reigning, defending champions, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, last year the Lions they ended their season on a high note, finishing 9-8 on the season. And the Chiefs, well, I said it earlier. They're the defending Super Bowl champions, but they're coming into this game with more questions than answers. For one, Travis Kelce is injured. It's uncertain that he plays. Chris Jones, he's holding out, so they don't have their anchor of the defense or offense. But one thing that the Chiefs still have, Patrick Mahomes. He is without a doubt the best QB in the league. And I do think this is going to be a really good game, but I'm going to roll with the Chiefs to win. I think with that home crowd and Mahomes working some magic, I think the Chiefs will win this game. Next, we have is the Carolina Panthers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Panthers, they had a pretty busy offseason where they got their number one overall pick and they got their guy in Bryce Young. As for the Falcons, I feel like they haven't done much this past offseason, but a lot of people think they're going to be a sneaky athletic, sneaky good team. And with this game, it's more of a toss-up than what you think, but I'm going to roll with the Falcons to win this game. They're at home, and what more can I say? I do like the Falcons' chances a little more. But it will be very, very nice to see the two young teams go at it because they're both very, very young. Next we have is the Battle of Ohio, where the Cincinnati Bengals will travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Bengals, we know last year, once again, made it to the AFC Championship game, but they came up short, losing to the Chiefs. As for the Cleveland Browns, they're trying to make sure Deshaun Watson's rust was a fluke. Hopefully, it didn't carry on to this season as well. And one thing I am apparent is of all the teams Joe Burrow plays, he will be active. Cleveland is the team he struggles with the most. And with this game being week 1, I'm pretty certain that Cleveland will probably win this game. It's in Cleveland. The dog pound will be barking. I'm going with the Browns to win this game. Next we have is the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Jaguars, they won the division last year and they won a playoff game. And they're coming into the season with, what's this? Expectations? Because their offense is projected to get better. Calvin Ridley set to play in his first game in over 2 years. He was suspended all of last year due to gambling. And the offense have momentum. Now their defense, I'm very curious to see what they do on that side of the ball. As for the Colts, this is an offseason you would rather forget. Yes, you got their future in Anthony Richardson, but their star running back Jonathan Taylor, he wants no part of the team. They couldn't find a trade partner, and now he's on the PUP list for at least the first 4 weeks. Indianapolis, they're a mess right now. I was going to pick, I think in my predictions that I did this offseason, I think I rolled with the Colts, but after what's been going on, I'm going with Duval County to win this game. And Jacksonville, they'll be a sneaky team. I think they'll upset a lot of contending teams this year. Next we have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Buccaneers are in a new era, life after Brady, and basically life before, and they're back into the life before Brady mode. Baker Mayfield will be their starting QB, but a lot of the Super Bowl aura that they had in 2020 is gone. Meanwhile, the Vikings, though last year they ended in a wild card, and a lot of people call them, and they ended the season on a negative point differential because they've been in a lot of close games last year. The Vikings, I don't know. Part of me saying they're gonna do good. Part of me think they're gonna all those close wins are gonna fall on their face this year. But for this game, I'm gonna go with Minnesota to win, just because I like their offense better in this game. And oh yeah, Minnesota, give Justin Jefferson all of his money. Next we have is the Tennessee Titans traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. For the Tennessee Titans, like the Colts, it was kind of an off season you want to forget because first of all, you could not get rid of Ryan Tannehill. You end up drafting Will Levis, and yes, they drafted Peter Skoronski to help out the offensive line, but I heard he's playing guard instead of tackle, the position he played last year. They did add DeAndre Nuke Hopkins, but I don't know. The Tennessee Titans offense still feels off. Meanwhile, the Saints, they got a new QB. Derek Carr is going to be their guy for this season. And for the Saints, it looked like they're going to be the team to beat in the AFC South. But for this game, however, I think I'm actually going to go with the Titans on the road. Because another thing that I failed to mention, the Titans do have a solid defense. At least they had, I don't know if they still do, but they do have one. And I think defensively they're going to frustrate Derek Carr in the Superdome, and I think the Titans win. Also, history shows that the Saints always tend to struggle week 1. I'm going with the Titans to win on the road in an upset, sort of. Next we have is the 49ers traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. On the outside, the 49ers look like a true contending team, but if you dig a little deeper into this offseason, it's been rougher than what you can imagine. They came to the season thinking Trey Lance will be their guy, but they ended up trading him to Dallas, and they're going all in on Brock Purdy. We have not seen much of him outside of one preseason game, and he's recovering from elbow surgery. Not only that, Nick Bosa, the reigning defending Defensive Player of the Year, he has not reported to the team at all. He's not there. Hopefully he's still in shape though, as he's wanting a new contract where he'll demand all the money. Yeah, on the outside, you can see the 49ers, they look like a contending team, but inside there's a lot that's going on that no one's talking about. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, I think they had a really good offseason. They took care of the offensive line. They gave Kenny Pickett some new weapons. And the Steelers, they look like a team ready to contend. We know their floor is 9-8. So you know they're going to win a couple games. And especially when it comes to the fourth quarter, the Steelers feel like they're at their best. And for this game, I'm definitely taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to win. I feel like they're more solid. There's not much drama going on. They can play footballs. And I think the Steelers will win. In a low scoring game, though. Low scoring game. Next we have is the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Washington Commanders. Cardinals, this is an off season you want to forget. They're embracing the tank. I don't know who's their starting QB. It's going to be either Tune or Dobbs. Who knows? Meanwhile, the Commanders, this is year 1 under new ownership. Year 1 under new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. And Ron Rivera, he's determined that this season has to work for him, or else he's going to be out of a job. But I think this one's probably going to be the easiest pick for me. I'm definitely taking the Commanders to win. But if they lose, I'm going to be laughing super hard if they lose to the Arizona Cardinals, an actively tanking team. And speaking of more easy picks, we have the Houston Texans traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Texans, they went all in the draft, drafting C.J. Stroud as their future QB, but then turn around with the next pick to take Will Anderson as their future of the defense. Now, this team will go through a lot of growing pain as this is a true rebuild. The Texans cannot afford to hit the reset button again. Meanwhile, the Ravens, they basically focused, their whole focus this offseason was with Lamar Jackson. Yes, he got his big boy contract. Now it's important for him this season to stay healthy, and they gave him some weapons to play with, signing Odell Beckham Jr. and drafting Zay Flowers from Boston College. He's still going to, even though this is still going to be pretty much a running team. Now, on hindsight, the Baltimore Ravens should look like the favorite and shouldn't have any problem. But once again, their secondary is injured, as Marlon Humphrey will be out for like the first couple of weeks due to injury again. But despite that, I'm still going to take the Ravens because I think they're more offensively talented than the Texans. And this Texans, y'all might win, but I just like the Ravens' chances more. Next we have is the Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Packers, the Jordan Love era can officially begin. After 3 seasons waiting, we could finally see what Love is capable of. They didn't give him a 5th-year option, but instead they gave him a 1-year contract extension. That way, if it doesn't work out, they can move on to something else. But other than the Jordan Love era beginning, it's been kind of quiet for Green Bay. Meanwhile, for Chicago, they've talked a lot of smack in the offseason. For one, they had the #1 overall pick, but they traded it with the Carolina Panthers, got an offensive line, drafted an offensive tackle in the draft, gained DJ Moore in the process, and the way Justin Fields ended the season last year, despite not winning a game, this Bears, they better back up what they say. That's all I'll say. As for a winner, this one's a toss-up, more of a toss-up than what you think, but part of me is going to say Green Bay is going to win on the road. I don't know what it is. It could be the great unknown of Jordan Love, or it could be just the Bears not doing well against Green Bay to begin with. We'll just have to see. But I am rolling with Green Bay to win on the road. Next we have is the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Raiders, it's the Jimmy G era in Vegas. And what more can I say? And Josh McDaniels is still at head coach for this team somehow. Meanwhile, the Broncos, the Sean Payton era begins, and we can finally see if we can finally answer the question, did Russell struggle was all because of Nathaniel Hackett, or is it because of age regression? That's going to be the big question. A lot of their offensive weapons are getting healthy, and with this game being in the Mile High, I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos to win, but I will not be surprised if the Raiders pull a rabbit out of their hat. Next we have is the Philadelphia Eagles traveling on to New England to take on the Patriots. Eagles last year were the best team last year. Even though they lost the Super Bowl, they had a very good offseason. They locked up Jalen Hurts, drafted Nolan Smith, drafted Jalen Carter, drafted the Georgia Bulldogs' entire team, and stayed out of trouble. Eagles, they pretty much look like they're going to be the class of the NFC, unfortunately. As for the Patriots, I don't know what's going on with New England. Yes, they added Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator, and I don't care what you say, that is an upgrade over what they had last year. Hopefully, Mac Jones' second year struggles were a fluke, and the Patriots defense, they're still going to be the Patriots defense. They're going to generate turnovers. That's one thing they do best. But as for winners, yeah, I think this one's also a bit cut and dry. I'm going with the Eagles because of all the talent they have on their roster. And yeah, I think this one's going to be, I don't think this one's going to be close. Give me the Eagles in a slightly blowout. Now we have the Dolphins taking on the Chargers. The Dolphins, I don't know. I feel like this is another team that had a bit of a quiet offseason, but the main question for them was, can Tua stay healthy for a full 16? Last season, while he had a very good season, he had massive durability issues with concussions. As for the Chargers, they gave Justin Herbert the big boy money, but they couldn't give any of it to Austin Eckler, and this is the start of the Kellen Moore era as offensive coordinator. Chargers, the way they ended last season, Brandon Staley is on the chopping block this year. He could have been gone after that game against Jacksonville, but the Chargers, for some reason, chose to keep him around. And if it all goes good, great. If not, they can move on from him. Hopefully, don't make no dumb decisions on fourth down, though. But outside of that, I'm gonna take the Chargers to win this game. Hopefully, they don't find ways to charge her this season up. But knowing my luck, they will. And then we have the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Rams pretty much won the injury bowl last year. All their superstar players, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, were all injured, and now two of the three are back healthy, with Cooper Kupp still nursing a hamstring issue. This offseason for the Rams, they said when you buy a championship, you got to pay up. They're paying for that championship because their offensive line still bad. They can't afford to make any moves. They had to get rid of Jalen Ramsey to make cap space, and he also lost Bobby Wagner to cap reasons as well. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks, they did have a really good offseason, drafting Devin Witherspoon with the 5th overall pick, and then drafting Jackson Njigba Smith at wide receiver, even though he will not play this season. Geno Smith got a unsafe, cap-friendly contract with the Seattle Seahawks. They added on to the running game, fixed their defense, and what do you know? Bobby Wagner is back. And if you don't recall, last year, this was the regular season finale for these two teams, and this is now be a continuation. Almost like a sequel. But with the Rams doing whatever they're doing, I have zero confidence in them to win this game. I'm going to roll with the Seattle Seahawks to win at home. The 12s will be loud. I like what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball, and I like also the defense. And the Rams, I think their time in the sun is about over. And now we have the Sunday night staple on week 1, where the Dallas Cowboys playing their fourth year in a row, kicking off their season on NBC, but this time traveling to New York to take on the Giants. And a lot of people think this is frequent, but this is their first time playing on opening day since 2019. The Cowboys, meanwhile, offseason wise, the Cowboys, they pretty much made some all-in moves. Acquiring Brandon Cooks from the Texans, acquiring Stephon Gilmore for the Colts, trading for Trey Lance, although that will not have any impact. But more importantly, I feel like this is like the last year the Cowboys can do something. If they don't do anything, or if they fail to reach, let alone an NFC Championship game, I think the band gonna have to break up. That's where I stand with the Cowboys this year. As for the Giants, this has been kind of a roller coaster offseason for them. Saquon was going to hold out, but he ended up getting a contract settlement with the Giants so he could play. Daniel Jones got a cap-friendly contract, similar to that of Geno Smith. The defense, they look like they're going to improve, and from year 2, they're very young. And the offensive line, hopefully they improve. But like I said about these two teams being frequently paired up on week 1 on Sunday night, you think it's more common than what you think, but this is the first time they played on opening day since 2019. And one thing I learned about the Cowboys, let alone Dak Prescott, he struggles on opening day unless he's playing the New York Giants. And with this game being in New York, I kind of went back and forth here. But I think because of Dak Prescott doing very good in divisional play, I am going to roll with the Dallas Cowboys to get the road win in New York. And finally, staying in New York, we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets and paying tribute to the 22nd anniversary of all those firefighters, victims, police that all lost their lives on 9/11. What better way we could open this season off like that in New York, paying tribute to those who lost their lives on that terrible day in 2001. Meanwhile, the Bills, they kind of have more questions than answers. For one, the Bills, Stephon Diggs had a pretty much, it was an emotional roller coaster off season for him. The game they played in Cincinnati, that's like a sign that the window could be closing for the Bills faster than what you think. As for the Jets, they rebranded themselves as the New York Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Randall Cobb, Allen Lazard, they're all on that team. And the Jets, they have, big expectations for once. Now for this game, it's a Monday nighter, and I'm gonna roll with the Jets to win. Cause one thing's certain, I never like, I don't know, something about the Jets this game. Aaron Rodgers, the hype, the crowd's gonna be all hyped up for Aaron Rodgers' first game in New York. And one thing I learned from the Bills is they always tend to struggle with the Jets. If you recall last year when they went there week 9, I called the Jets beating the Bills in that game. And they had Zach Wilson as their quarterback. So for this game, yeah, I'm taking the Jets to win. So tell me what y'all think about this in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.